Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here. I finally got my computer technical problems sorted out, and now this video should be uploaded by now, or at least by the end of Sunday. Okay, now then, comics for the week of September 14th. First of all, Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 669, Part 3 of Spider Island. What happened? Okay, where we last left the story, Peter Parker and Carly Cooper were checking out one of the Jackal's old hideouts. And continuing from where we left off, they suddenly get attacked by 3 C-list villains that now have spider powers. But fortunately, since Carly has spider powers, she is able to put up a fight. But Peter is able to take all 3 villains out thanks to his newly learned spider kung fu. And also, after they defeat the villains and get out of the hideout, Peter is able to slip away and change into Spidey, saying he'll have Spider-Man meet Carly back at the police station, so he's able to change back into his Spider-Man costume. Also, meanwhile, at Horizon Labs, they're still doing work on the whole spider virus epidemic, and it's now learned that the virus is airborne, and while he's visiting, Mary Jonah Jameson is scanned, and he's infected. So now, J. Jonah Jameson, the guy who's always hated Spider-Man, is going to walk a mile in Spidey's shoes because he has his powers. And the last part of the story ends with Spider-Man confronting the Shocker, who, as you can see on the cover, has 6 arms now. And apparently Shocker's stealing some money because he tells Spider-Man that he made a deal with the Mad Thinker to figure out a way to reverse the spider effects, because now not only is the spider virus evolving to the point where you no longer have to get bit by one of the Jackal's spiders to get powers, since it's now airborne, but now the people who were already infected are now starting to change into sort of like 6-armed man spiders, like Tarantula or Spider King, I guess. And also the person who the Jackal's working for is revealed at the last page of the issue, and that villain, though, you're gonna have to, if you're a fan, I didn't know who it was. I really had no idea who it was. I admit that I didn't know who the villain was at the end, but I went on Forum Spring and I asked Dan Slott, and he said it was an old villain from Spectacular Spider-Man during the run of Paul Jenkins. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and so anyways, we got the virus has now evolved, Spider Virus has now evolved, and the big bad is revealed, and the big villain is revealed to us. Okay, so, well, by us, I mean the audience, not really the characters in the story. Anyways, Spider Island Part 3, it's moving along great. It's got a great pace, and now we're kind of getting to the midpoint and to the climax, and right now the virus is evolving, and the people who are infected are starting to have greater effects on the virus, such as what's happening to Shocker. And oh yeah, Carly is still getting suspicious about Peter being Spider-Man. So yeah, that's it. Still, Spider Island, great story. I love it. The pace is really great with this. Cannot wait for the ending, though, because I want to see how it all ends. And okay, I don't think you have to worry about Peter losing his powers, because I doubt that's going to happen. Right. Next up, time for the number 1s of this week, and I actually have a number 1 from Marvel. The Ultimate Comics line, Ultimate Spider-Man number 1. This is the new Spider-Man series for Ultimate Comics, and is the first Spider-Man comic to star Miles Morales. I know Miles Morales first appeared in Ultimate Fallout number 4, but that was more of an Ultimate Universe comic, and this is Ultimate Spider-Man centered comic. So yeah, and also the issue does come polybagged, and this will give you an idea about what the polybag looks like. Anyway, and here's Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 1. This really doesn't the only question that's really answered in this book, in this issue, is just how Miles got his powers. That's all it's answered. What happens is, years ago, before Peter Parker's death and before Osborn was revealed as the Goblin, revealed publicly as the Goblin, Norman and Osborn tried to recreate the spider that bit Peter Parker and gave him his powers. And one of the spiders, though, escaped the test room and was still in the building. And after Osborn pretty much lost everything and the building was abandoned, a thief broke in trying to steal some money that was left over, and the spider that was still there crawled into the thief's bag. And later on, and when we get into Miles Morales' part of the story, it's revealed that the thief is Miles' uncle, who Miles visits to tell him that he got into this great charter school. And while Miles is visiting his uncle, the spider crawls out of the bag and then bites Miles, and Miles gets knocked out and he gets spider powers. And also, the last few pages reveal a new power that Miles has that Peter Parker in this universe didn't. Apparently, Miles has some sort of stealth chameleon type power where he can kind of blend in with his surroundings, as he was partially invisible for the last page of the issue. I would show it, but I'm now bagging and boarding my comics, and this bag is sealed. So yeah. Alright. It does seem like a great start. I use the term great loosely because it does give us an explanation about how Miles got his powers. And once again, just like with Ultimate Peter Parker, Osborn was behind it. He recreated the spider, and when that spider got out, it bit Miles and gave him spider powers. So, yeah, that's the only question that's answered. We still have, I would say that the question about why Miles is wearing a different costume, that's sort of answered in Ultimate Fallout number 4, and also, but those first few pages are on a digital edition on the Marvel Comics app, if you have that, called Ultimate Spider-Man 0. But that pretty much answers why he changed the costume, because people, when he was first wearing like the original Spider costume, people said that it was in bad taste, so that's kind of why he changed the costume. So we still have no idea what ultimately makes Miles become the new Spider-Man, although in tons of press releases, Bendis and other guys from Marvel have said that it's because Peter died that makes Miles want to become Spider-Man. So I'm kind of looking forward to the rest of this, just to see what makes Miles go into become a superhero and not... Well, I mean, I want to say turn to a life of crime, but, I mean, from reading the first few pages, I mean, he is kind of disappointed that he sees a ton of other kids who tried to apply for the school he wanted to go to, but he was disappointed that they couldn't get in, so he seems like a good kid. But we still have no idea what makes him want to go out there and risk his life to protect other people. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I think I need to see the rest of this story arc before ultimately deciding whether or not Spider-Man, this new Ultimate Spider-Man, will be a good thing, though. If you are curious about it, I would recommend buying the first issue just to, see if you want to stick around for the rest of the story or not. But right now, this seems a little slow-paced. The Miles' origin seems a little slow-paced. Alright, next up. Superboy, #1 from DC. Okay. Scott Lobell's Superboy. Yeah, Scott Lobell, I'm saying the name right. Alright, now in the new DC universe, Superboy is still a clone, alright? Don't let the whole robotic kind of feel on this cover fool you, alright? He's still a clone. And through tons of interviews and stuff, Scott Lobell has still stated that he is half Superman and half Lex Luthor, okay? That much we know. But from the issue, what we learn is that Superboy was not created by Project Cadmus, but by Project Nowhere, which, according to, again, Scott Lobell said in interviews, that Nowhere has been formed to sort of try to either control or kill the next generation of metahumans. particular teen superheroes. And in this case, they created Superboy just to use as a weapon in their ultimate goal. Alright, and like I said, Superboy is still a Superman-human hybrid. Alright? I meant Kryptonian-human hybrid. But he doesn't have it. But all the Kryptonian powers that Connor started to develop over the past few years when Jeff Johns wrote Teen Titans, yeah, those are gone. He's back at his basic state from when he got out of the pod, which is his only power is tactile telekinesis. But it's not only in power, alright? It still allows him to use super strength, super speed, and flight, and also take stuff apart with his mind. Alright, back to the story. Project Nowhere is kind of Superboy still in his little pod, and the people in Project Nowhere are saying they're getting no brain activity, and they've decided to and they've received word from upstairs that they want to shut down the clone. So they're getting ready to kill Superboy, but then right when that happens, though, his powers start to activate, and he takes the entire lab apart, and there's explosions. One person is able to get away, but right before the explosion hits the head scientist, he tries to tell the person that went away that Superboy's human DNA came from Lex Luthor, but he's cut off before saying the name. So people in Nowhere have no idea that Superboy is half Superman, half Lex Luthor. And also, what they try to do with Superboy now that he's active and they know he's alive, they're creating some sort of virtual reality for him to live in, I guess. And it's kind of reminiscent of Superman's days in Smallville when he was a kid, because apparently the VR is powered by Superboy's donor's cellular subconscious or something. Oh, and also, if you were a fan of Ravager from Teen Titans, well, Rose Wilson is featured in this book, but she is she works for Nowhere, and she is also Superboy's kind of handler, and basically she's assigned to kill Superboy in case he goes crazy. And anyways, right now. And in the end, though, Superboy, he's given this new suit, which apparently helps monitor his powers. And a man named Templar shows up saying that he's here to collect Superboy to help him deal with a problem. And on the last page, we're sort of given images of the Teen Titans, which is the problem that Templar's referring to. And Superboy says to himself that whatever Templar wants, he'll help because he believes that it will bring him closer to freedom. Alright, right now, coming off from this is still Superboy fresh out of his pod, so he's not Connor Kent, he's not Con-El, he's just Superboy. That's all he's known by. And his relationship with Superman and the rest of the Superman family is, at this point, non-existent. It's just him. And right now, pretty much the only thing on his mind right now is probably survival and getting freedom, which, I don't know, I guess I can't blame him, because he's been in the lab all his life. And they tried to kill him, but that activated his powers, so, it seems like right now Superboy is just kind of thinking about himself and only wanting to get out of Project Nowhere so that he can have freedom and stuff. And apparently this is supposed to kind of run along, I'm not sure run alongside Teen Titans is the right word to use it, but maybe when Superboy meets the Teen Titans, they'll help him, become more human. I want to say more of a boy than a lab experiment, I guess. Okay, well, I have to admit, though, this first issue, it felt a lot like the first story featuring Connor Kent as Superboy. I have to stop the camera right now because my battery's low, but when I edit this part should pick up where I left off. Okay, new batteries are in the camera, so I can finish this review. Okay, like I was saying, this feels a lot like the Superboy series from the 90s, where Superboy was working for Project Cadmus, and he was just, I guess, considered Superman's clone. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting from this. It's still, he's still just fresh out of his pod, right? That's something you have to remember going into this book, is that he's not Connor Kent. Connor Kent. He's just Superboy right now, okay? He still has to grow and develop and stuff. But if you did miss out on the 90s series and you kind of want to see what Superboy was like before the Titans and Young Justice and when he was just a clone, considered Superman's clone, well, I would recommend picking this up because it would be interesting, because I think this is an interesting new take on him to see what makes him kind of start to develop to fight on the side of good and help the Teen Titans and stuff. But right now, though, I don't know, maybe soon after this whole origin introduction arc is out of the way, he'll get more solo adventures with him just fighting supervillains. But yeah, I'm still gonna get the next few issues because I love Superboy. Because I really like Superboy. He's one of my favorite characters, and I do hope that Scott Lobel does a good job writing him. But yeah, I still want to see where this goes. If you are a Superboy fan, then I would recommend checking it out at least before you make your final decision on whether or not to reject the full series or not. Next up. Alright. Green Lantern. Oh, wait. Also, in terms of jump-on friendly stuff, if you've never read a Superboy comic, but you've always wanted to try to get into the character, well, I would recommend picking this up because it is pretty much new user-friendly. And which brings me to my next comic, Green Lantern #1. This, however, is not new reader-friendly. It takes place right after War of the Green Lanterns, so you have to go back, read all of War of the Green Lanterns, then to come back to this, because it takes place right after that. Sinestro is back to being a Green Lantern now. And when the Guardians are pretty much having him recite the oath and stuff, they say that they tell Sinestro that maybe this is his chance at redemption and ask him to go patrol his sector. And Sinestro goes and flies off to do so. But after that, the Ganthet asked the Guardians what their main goal of keeping Sinestro around is, and the Guardians state that they want to keep, since Sinestro is their enemy, it's always a good idea to keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and that apparently Sinestro might help them in their new ultimate goal. And when Ganthet asks what that is, the Guardians then say that they need all their minds to be connected or something, and then they latch on to Ganthet's mind and do this whole mind meld thing. Again, I can't show you because sealed comic. Sealed them after I read them. Alright, back to what happens in Green Lantern. The rest of Hal Jordan still comes back in this, alright? He's back on Earth. Hal Jordan is no longer a Green Lantern. And his personal life has suffered a lot because he's backed up on his rent and evicted from his apartment, and he was rejected from the air and was kicked out of the Air Force because he was AWOL as Green Lantern, and Carol can't hire him, doesn't want to hire him as a pilot for Ferris Era because of his flight record and how he's had too many accidents and it's too risky for insurance purposes. And oh man, and when Hal does seem to try to restart his relationship with Carol, he fails so bad at it. Okay, you expect him to say something romantic, but no. The first thing he asks Carol is if she would co-sign the lease on his new car. Wow, that you bring her to a nice restaurant and that's what you ask. I mean, it's just the delivery. You think Hal was going to say something big to Carol, like he wants to be in a relationship with her, but no, he asks her for money. For financial support. It's just, wow. Alright, back to what happened to Sinestro. All Sinestro does for the rest of the book is he flies to Korugar, takes a look through binoculars, and he sees that the Sinestro Corps has pretty much enslaved all of the entire planet. And when one of the Sinestro Corps members attacks him, thinking to be another Lantern, Sinestro is able to fight back, and then when he realizes that the Green Lantern is Sinestro, he tries to report it to Arquilo, but Sinestro kills him. And then when Hal, after his really crappy date with Carol, goes back, he sees notes on his apartment saying he's been evicted, and then Sinestro appears, before Hal, saying, "If you want your ring back, you'll do exactly what I say." Alright, Green Lantern. Again, this is not jump-on friendly. It takes place right after War of the Green Lanterns, which is a little strange because, again, DC was saying that all these new number ones are supposed to be jump-on friendly and stuff. Yeah, you have to read War of the Green Lanterns first in order to understand what's going on here. Because if I gave this to someone who hasn't read Green Lantern and maybe has just seen the movies and his appearances on Justice League, they would probably be really confused by Sinestro being a Green Lantern. I was telling a friend the other day, I said, "Oh, hey, Sinestro's a Green Lantern again." He's like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, because of the whole War of the Green... Yeah, alright, if you are planning on reading Green Lantern, then try to go back and find the issues for War of the Green Lanterns, read those, and then you'll have a clear understanding about how Sinestro got his green ring back and why the Guardians kicked out Hal, killing a deranged Guardian. Anyway, also, another thing that I do have to complain, though, about this issue is that I thought Sinestro was supposed to be the star, I guess, central character of this series, or at least I thought it would probably be 50-50 Sinestro and Hal, but apparently I think there's more Hal Jordan in this book than Sinestro. Okay, I think Sinestro's story is like only 2 pages, but Hal takes up maybe like 80% of the book about how bad his life is without the ring. Anything else I want to add to that? Well, alright, again, this is just the first issue, and it does feel a little slow-paced right now, but that's kind of Jeff Johns' style. He kind of like plots everything out each issue just to make sure he can cover the full story. So Sinestro pretty much shows up. So in the end, though, Sinestro shows up to Hal saying that he'll make a deal with him to give him back, figure out a way to give him his green ring back. Okay. And, yeah. That's all I have to say about comics this week. Okay, wrapping up. Green Lantern number 1. Not jump on friendly. You'll have to read War of the Green Lanterns in order to understand what's going on. Still feels slow-paced, but again, that's kind of Jeff Johns' style. Superboy number 1. Jump on friendly. Pretty much takes the story back to Superboy coming out of fresh out of the clone pod and ready to learn about the world, or at least be used by the bad guys. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 1. The answer to how Miles Morales got his powers is finally revealed, and nothing else. And Amazing Spider-Man 669. Really great. Really enjoying Spider Island. This issue kind of changed everything with the evolution of the Jackal spider virus and stuff. Plus the big bad guys revealed, so that's always good. And those are all my comics for this week. Again, sorry the video was delayed, but I was having some technical difficulties, but fortunately they're all resolved now. Okay, that's all I have to say. Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.